We are joined by the man who is Darth Vader, who always will be Darth Vader, Mr. Dave Prowse. How are you, sir?
Well, so I was just going to say, I'm very well, but I'm suffering with a bad leg at the present moment.
You know, a lot of people have been asking, how are you feeling? How's your health doing?
Well, my health is good, but I had a big operation about a year ago to get rid of an infection I had on my leg. And unfortunately, the infection was eating away my hip, my femur, and my knee. And so in one fell swoop, they removed everything, and put steel instead. And ever since then, I've had terrible problems with my knee. And I'm now waiting to go back in hospital again to get my knee sorted out. But other than that, I'm fine.
I fear you're becoming more machine than man.
Yeah, probably.
Twisted and evil?
I'm becoming very bionic, yeah.
Twisted and evil?
No.
No, of course not.
No.
Have you been following along with any current developments in the Star Wars universe through the comics or the Clone Wars TV show or anything like that?
I'm really not all that interested, to be perfectly honest. I mean, I did the first 3 movies, which I thoroughly enjoyed. I didn't like the second 3 movies very much. I didn't really think they were all that good. And then, of course, I've had major problems, with the powers that be. I would obviously, if something was really happening in the Star Wars world, I would love to be involved. Really would, because I enjoyed my association with the first 3 movies. It was wonderful.
Yeah,
thoroughly enjoyed it, and there was such a fantastic interest. Still after all these years, if I wanted to, I could be somewhere different in the world every weekend doing these shows. And I think to myself, well, number one, how lucky I was to have been cast as Darth Vader in Star Wars. I'm now regarded as the ultimate screen villain of all time, which is a wonderful title for any actor to have, and it's a phenomenon which is there's no signs of it stopping, as it were, And,
no, not at all.
And I'm just eternally grateful to everybody involved, for my involvement in the Star Wars movies.
After the first film came out, and then you realized that you were being overdubbed, how did that affect your performance in the following films?
No, you don't understand really. What really happened was, when we did Star Wars, it was painfully obvious to everybody that everything that I was saying was coming out from inside the mask and was muffled, and it was all right for the other actors. They could hear me, and the director could hear me, and the producer, and so on. They could all hear me, sure. But it was no good for reproduction purposes. And so I understood right at the very beginning that I used to talk to George about the voice of Vader. And you say, well, don't worry, we'll go into the studios and re-record all your dialogue at the end of the movie. So, automatically I assumed that it was me that was going to go into the studios and re-record. Well, what happened was that they got to the end of the movie and then chased back to America because they couldn't get all the special effects that they wanted in the UK. And when they were in America, suddenly realized, that they had to do the overdubbing of Darth Vader's voice, or at least my voice. And the situation then was, well, do we fly Dave Prowse all the way over from London to Hollywood just to overdub half a dozen lines, or however many lines I had, or alternatively, to take the obvious answer is to hire the best voiceover artist you can find out in Hollywood, and James Earl Jones was a perfect answer, and I think he did a wonderful job.
Yeah, he certainly did.
But I would love to have had the opportunity of doing it myself, and I've talked to James about it and discussed it with him. And
the two Darths have met.
Yeah, we've met. Yeah, he came over to England to do a play. Well, he's been over a couple of times, but he came over to do a play called Driving Miss Daisy.
Yes.
And it was interesting for me because he was appearing in one of the big London theatres with Vanessa Redgrave, right. And I used to be Vanessa Redgrave's personal trainer ages ago. Yeah, ages ago. So it was
nice full circle.
It was nice meeting up with him. Yeah.
But did it have any effect when you were working on Empire? That
no,
knowing that you were being overdubbed, or you just played it the same way?
Exactly the same. I did the voice exactly the same as I did, because I said I knew then, of course, that that my voice wasn't going to be used, but it was one of these things which happens in the movie industry. For some reason or other. I was very unfortunate for me that, as I said, that all my dialogue was delivered from inside the mask, and I was obviously no good. But we knew it was no good right from the beginning.
Right.
But obviously I was hoping that when they were gonna do the overdubbing, that it was me that was going to overdub my voice.
Now, we've had the opportunity many times to talk to one of your colleagues, Peter Mayhew, and when you talk to him about his Star Wars experience, he always begins with, "It was hot." It was very hot.
Yeah.
And I don't think we've ever really heard from you. Was the costume uncomfortable, comfortable? No. Was it difficult?
No, it was all made to measure. It was wonderful. I mean, I was offered Chewbacca first, by the way,
right.
And I turned it down. I said no, I didn't fancy 3 months in a gorilla skin,
Right.
But I mean, the thing with Star Wars, of course, is that we filmed Star Wars during the hottest summer we've ever had in Great Britain.
Is that right?
Yeah, 1976 was a very, very hot summer, and but no, I mean, it was my suit was all made to measure. It was very, very comfortable and things like this. And I mean, but you used to you learn very quickly how to adjust, to having the suit on and how long you were going to keep it on for and things like this, and when to put it on, so as you're ready for shooting and things like this. You learn very, very quickly. I mean, I used to go into the studios first thing in the morning, and I just used to put the trousers and the leggings, the boots, and a t-shirt, and stay like that as long as I possibly could. And then you'll say, "Oh, Dave Prowse rehearsals," and then of course you used to put the top bit on, but keep out of the capes and keep out of the helmet and the mask,
Right.
And then eventually they would say, "Well, we need to see you in the whole outfit, or rehearse the whole in the whole outfit." And we used to do that, and then of course they used to decide to film. So it was it was about 4 or 5 transitions, from
You talked about James Earl Jones, and there's something I've discovered recently while watching the original Star Wars: A New Hope, is that if you listen very closely, in addition to the sound effect, the brilliant sound effect that Ben Burtt created for Darth Vader's breathing, you can hear in certain scenes James Earl Jones taking a breath himself between sentences, between lines of dialogue. If you listen closely, you actually hear him in addition to the regulated breathing Vader's respirator. Have you ever heard that before?
never noticed. No,
I never noticed either.
But you see, I'm not one of these people that goes nitpicking and looking for every nuance and every mistake and things like this. To me, Star Wars was you view Star Wars as an entity, and you think, and you come out of the cinema thinking, my God, what a fantastic movie that was, and it's you're not looking for all the silly things that went wrong, and all those sorts of things, and I'm one of these people. I appreciate it for what it was, and I thought it was an excellent piece of work.
But you know who nitpicks it probably the most is George Lucas himself, and then he goes back and makes changes to the film.
Yeah, well, that's entirely up to him. I mean, it's his baby, isn't it? He can do as he pleases. But I mean, unfortunately, the fans don't like it that way. The fans always think that they loved it as it was when they first went to see it, and it's always got pleasant memories for them, and anything that he does to it, they think is superfluous.
Well, something that fans have been talking a lot about lately over the last year is, since the release of the Blu-ray, additional Vader dialogue has been added to the end of Return of the Jedi. Right before he throws the Emperor down the shaft, he says no. Yeah. Have you heard this? Have you seen this revision? What do you think about that?
No, you haven't? I've heard about it.
Yeah.
No, I can't see anything wrong with that. No. I can't see anything wrong with it. I can't see why the fans should object to it. I mean, I think it's something which I think it's quite a normal reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you feel like some sort of reaction like that was missing originally?
No. I mean, George has made the film, and he's made the film how he sees it and how he wants it and things like this. And over the years, he's nitpicked and decided he wants make little improvements here, there, and everywhere. And as I said, unfortunately, you're working with a very, very sort of die-hard fan base who basically don't like the originals mucked about with. And,
right.
you can't please everybody. And,
David, when we saw Ian McDiarmid a few months back at Star Wars Celebration 6, he alluded to the fact that there was more to the story about throwing the Emperor down the shaft. He said it was kind of a difficult shoot, and he said he would get back to it later, but he never did. Do you have any particular memories of that that sequence?
No, none whatsoever.
No, so it wasn't any. It was just a typical day at the office.
Well, no, I mean, I remember throwing him down the shaft. I can't remember much more than that.
Right. The cameras were rolling, though, right?
Yeah.
You mentioned that you're thought of as one of the most feared villains, actually the most feared villain in film history.
Right, yeah.
When you think of villains other than Darth Vader throughout all the films that have been made, who scares you? Who scares Darth Vader? Who strikes fear into the heart of the Dark Lord himself?
I think Jaws did to start with.
Jaws the shark?
Yeah, Jaws in the James Bond movie.
In the James Bond films, really?
Yeah, I was funny enough. I was originally offered that part in the movie.
You?
Yeah. Before Richard Kiel, it was they had a director, one of the Bond directors, rang me up and he said, David, have you ever done a Bond film? And I said, no, I haven't actually. And he said, well, I'm directing the next Bond film. He said, there's a great part in it for you. I said, what's the part? And he said, there's a character called Jaws. I thought, oh God, this is lovely. I've never done a Bond film. This was great. Unfortunately, the director that was going to do it got the sack, and then of course the next director came along and wanted Richard Kiel to do it.
Oh, I could totally see you doing it.
So I lost out on that one. Yeah.
Would you have liked to have done it?
No, I would love to have done it, but I don't think I could have been as good as Richard Kiel. I think Richard Kiel was absolutely phenomenal as Jaws. Yeah.
Talk about iconic. He's up there.
Yeah.
One of the things that we have noticed, and we covered on the show, is that it's got to be every month or so you see a headline. Darth Vader robs bank. Darth Vader. There is this rash, and maybe you're not aware, but there's this rash of crimes being committed with fellas wearing Darth Vader masks.
Yeah.
And and some of these headlines come from Europe. And the first thing I think of when I see Darth Vader, fill in the blank, I go, oh, Mr. Prowse, what happened? So I click on it, and thankfully none of these are actually you. But very easily could. What do you think about these people running around and robbing banks and doing these sort of things with the Darth Vader mask? They taking it a little too far, huh?
Well, no, I don't know. It's just a form of disguise for them. It's a sort of disguise when they need it most.
Do you have to come up with alibis for all of these?
No.
But have you been aware of any of these stories about a guy going into a bank and robbing a bank dressed as Darth Vader? Seriously, it's an epidemic.
You read it. You read about it in the newspapers.
Yeah. Here's the latest one. Darth Vader's wife reportedly punched in the face. Now, it's a story about a guy in England who changed his name legally to Darth Vader.
I heard about this one. Yeah,
you heard about this one.
I heard about this one. Yeah.
And
but it's definitely not my wife. She hasn't been punched in the face.
Well, good. Okay.
I'm quite certain if she had been, I would have got one back.
There you go. There you go. So that's good news to know that it wasn't.
If we ever see a headline that says "Woman punches Darth Vader," we'll know. Yeah.
You will know. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
My wife is quite strange actually, as far as Star Wars is concerned. She's not the slightest bit interested in Star Wars.
Wow, you and me, our wives have a lot in common, don't they?
The thing is, I think she feels that Star Wars runs my life.
Yeah.
Well, it does obviously because I do nothing else but travel around the world on the back of Darth Vader, as it were. But it's like she doesn't want anything to do with Star Wars in the house.
Nothing.
And all my Star Wars memorabilia and photographs I have in one room. I have one in my house. And there's nothing else in the house that anything association with Star Wars whatsoever.
It all gets put in the room.
And she won't come with me. She won't come with me on conventions, and she hates what I call fan worship, and she even dislikes me doing interviews.
Well, we're sorry, Mrs. Prowse. We apologize.
I think she definitely feels that Star Wars is a phenomena which she can't compete with. Yeah.
A lot of wives feel that way.
I know.
Podcasters too, and they make us keep all of our Star Wars stuff in one room in the house. You can't get in the other.
Likewise. Yeah,
so, what's your favorite piece of Star Wars memorabilia that you own?
Oh God. Well, I think one of the nicest pieces I've got is that I got the pewter statue that was made of Star Wars. There was a company in Great Britain called Compulsion, and they made 4 statues, and they were going to make them as a as a production line, but they made 4 statues: R2D2, C3PO, Boba Fett, and Darth Vader, and they came out when they came out they were like $1,500 a piece.
Wow.
And they were nice pieces. They weigh very heavy. But they gave me one of the Darth Vader ones, which I have in my hallway, and that is the only piece of Star Wars memorabilia in the house. Yeah.
And do you have any props or anything from the films?
I've got the mask and helmet and breastplate. Yeah, from the original mold.
The original one.
Yeah. It was never worn in the film, but it's from the original mold. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've talked to sculptor Brian Muir, who is actually the guy. You know Brian,
I know
right?
Brian, yeah.
And he's the guy who actually created the Darth Vader look. And something interesting, little interesting bit of trivia he told us was that the indentation where the nose is actually his thumb.
His thumb, I know.
Right.
We've all heard this one, yeah.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Can't pull anything on you, Darth Vader.
There are so many claims to be associated with things like making the mask and the stormtrooper outfits and all these different things. There's all coming to light after all these donkey's years went on.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
It's great to hear those stories. Here's another one. Darth Vader robs bank, flees on bike in Ohio. This happened in 2012.
Yeah.
Where were you, sir? Do you have an alibi?
Definitely not in Ohio.
Ever been to Ohio?
Definitely not in Ohio. Yeah.
So as you can even see, I have a photo here of a man wearing the Darth Vader mask, pointing a gun at a bank teller.
It's not even a good mask either. It's not like
That's a child's mask.
Right. Well, he looks like he's very small.
It's a kid's mask. Yeah.
Now, David, you talked, of course, the first 3 films you were in, but you also donned the costume for some of the video games, did you not? Later?
Only one.
One video game?
Yeah, Rebel Assault 2.
Mm-hmm. And
I did that it must have been about 10 years. 10 years after
10
Star
years
Wars.
after,
It must have been about 10 years after.
Still fit. Everything still fit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
They sent it over.
Gil Taylor, who was a...
Yeah, they got Gil Taylor, funny enough,
they brought him in
retirement to light the set.
Yeah. So that must have been
I managed to get the only photograph that was ever taken of me half in and half out of the suit. It's the only picture you'll ever see of Darth Vader with my face is, there it is over there. Got it over there.
Yeah, it's a great shot. I remember
on the set.
We have it here,
on the
right in front of us.
Yeah,
so on the set of the originals, you were never allowed to be photographed without the helmet.
No.
Because the mystery of who's underneath. Yeah.
They maintained that mystery a little bit, didn't they?
Oh yeah, they obviously they tried. They wanted to retain the myth,
right,
as it were. And,
I think Anthony Daniels had to put up with a lot of that too, where they actually wanted to sort of sell it as a real robot, even though we knew Anthony Daniels was inside the suit.
Yeah.
Something that I was wondering was, what is your favorite Star Wars film?
I liked Empire. I think
Empire's your personal favorite.
Yeah. Well, I enjoyed working with Irvin Kershner. I think that was one of the reasons for it's such a nice. Well, the whole film was interesting to work on from beginning to end. The third one was terrible. I mean, they had a guy. The director there was an asshole from beginning.
Was that right?
Excuse my language, from beginning to end. Never spoke to me all the way through the picture.
Richard Marquand.
Yeah.
Right.
I couldn't have been happier when he died.
Really? Jeez.
Yeah, I would.
That's the Dark Lord inside you
no,
coming
seriously,
out.
that's how bad I felt against him.
Really?
For the way he treated me on the movie. Yeah.
But it is certainly a recurring theme that we hear from other actors that were in Empire Strikes Back. That there was something very special about Irvin Kershner.
About what?
About Irvin Kershner, something very special about him.
Yeah, lovely man. Very, very nice guy.
Seems he understood the characters in the films and really brought out, some of the more subtle things about them as well. Well, David, it's been a pleasure to talk to you. It always is.
Thank you very much.
We wish you many more
all
conventions.
This in the background. Yeah.
And I hope that the health continues to improve and that your new leg starts to feel like the old one, at least when it was good.
Yeah.
So
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to being mobile. Yeah.
We like our Dark Lords to be able to cruise around the quarters of the Death Star.
Yeah. I want to get back to the gym. I can't. I miss the gym, going to the gym and training, weight training.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I miss that so much. And even though I'm 77 now, I'm looking forward to getting back to really getting back into getting in good shape again.
Right.
Absolutely. Because you can work out.
I want to be the most muscular 80-year-old in the business.
Well, look at Arnold Schwarzenegger in Terminator 3. He was I think 62 at that point
62,
when he did that, which is 52. Excuse me, 52.
Yeah, of course, you used to tour around with
Schwarzenegger. 20 years. Yeah.
Right.
You used to tour around with him and do.
No, not with Arnold.
Oh, not with Arnold.
No.
With Lou, though.
No, I never toured around with them.
Really?
No, I knew them. They'd been to my gymnasium in London, I go around to the bodybuilding shows that they were appearing at, and things. That Lou came over, and I did a tour with Lou. I never did a tour with Arnold. He was very friendly with a couple that used to look after him in London, Wag and Diane Bennett, and they sort of looked after him from the time he was like 19, and right through until he became governor of well, not governor, but I mean, and until he achieved sort of great fame in the bodybuilding world. Mm-hmm. And then went off to America.
Do you still follow bodybuilding at all?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
What do you think of the state of the sport now?
Well, I think the problem is that the drugs arrived on the scene years ago, and it's basically altered bodybuilding completely. And now there's a big move to what they call get back to natural bodybuilding. I'm sorry, but the natural bodybuilders. They look like skin and grief. They don't look like bodybuilders. They look like very defined athletes, as it were.
Right.
But it's lost all interest for me, actually.
Yeah. It does seem.
I love following all the people that I grew up with and all who were my idols at that time, and I buy them. I buy the magazines that where it features people. All the old timers and things like that.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, I must go in a minute.
You do. You're getting the line here.
You do. So we'll let you get back to your fans. It's always a pleasure to see you at these shows,
Thank
David.
you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Prowse.
Okay, thank you.
Best of luck to you, sir.